School on a warm and windy afternoon. The Section 6 4A baseball final round. The number 3 seed, the Hopkins Royals, the number 1 seed and defending champion Wayzata Trojans, playing what could be the championship game or could be the first of 2 championship games. I'm Jay Wilcox along with Drew Keogh as we get set for battle here. Hopkins is the team without a loss in the tournament, but they are the visitor because Wayzata is the higher seed, and in this section, that's the way things are lined up. If the teams have not met, the higher seed is the number 1 seed. Here's a look at the batting order for the Royals. Luke Polyak will lead it off and play left. Jake Perry, the catcher. Wyatt Nelson, the pitcher, hits third. Calvin Harris at first base. Will Stein in right. Sam Sickink at third base. Parker Johnson in center. Luis Filomovicius at second base. And Kyle Fiducia is the shortstop for the Royals. 17 wins on the season. These teams were co-champs of the Lake Conference. Here's the defense for Wayzata. Josh Gullickson, Keegan Nickel, Cullen Stamp, and Carter Tibbetts around the infield. Ben Leitner, Brennan Albert, and Max McCarthy in the outfield. Brandon Brolin is the catcher, and doing the pitching is Blake Ask, who's been the ace this year for the Trojans. 6-1 record, a 1.32 earned run average. He's worked 53 innings, 12 walks, 42 strikeouts. He has allowed 50 hits, a good breaking ball. And Luke Polyak steps in, first pitch swinging, and knocks a single into center. And it was interesting, Drew, I asked Jason Michalakis, the Hopkins coach, about being the visitor, even though they're the unbeaten team. He said, you know, I don't really mind. We can sometimes get going right away. And he said a lot of times in high school ball, the first team that scores wins. We want to come out and take charge right away. Yeah, it's not like they've been sitting around waiting for this game to happen, but they're definitely eager, playing at home. They're excited to get up to the plate this top half of the first. Jake Perry lifting one out to right field. The sun and wind are both a little bit tough out there, but Brennan Albert able to track it down for the Trojans. So Jake Perry is out as they're looking to attack early in the count against Ask here. They get a single and then a flyout. And Wyatt Nelson will be the hitter for the Royals. Average of .425 this year. He's knocked in 11 runs, 9 doubles. And again, he'll be the pitcher today for Hopkins. And he swings at the first pitch as well. Obvious strategy early on. This one lofted to right and lost in the sun. Making the big turn and heading for third on the play is Polyak. And there I talked about there's no sure things on a day like today, and that one is going to drop in. Yeah, Jay, you mentioned earlier, hot and breezy. The sun straight out to right field, wind blowing straight out to left field. So that ball is going to be moving quite a bit in the air. Plus, when it's hit to the right side of the field in the air, especially that high, it'll be a very tough play for those fielders out on the right side of the field. Calvin Harris will be the hitter. And he takes a first pitch strike. Harris hitting at .327 for the year. Scored 6 runs, knocked in 11. 4 doubles to his credit. Runner from first takes off. Wayzata not at all concerned about him, and Nelson will step into second. Nelson not only have a great jump, but Wayzata wasn't even really paying attention and trying to get that out. Now they bring their infield in to try and cut that run off if there's a ground ball fielded by the infielders cleanly. So the sun playing a key factor here. Looked like Wayzata might be on the way toward getting out of the inning as back-to-back fly balls. One of them caught, but the second one not. Falls in for an error, and now runners at second and third. And this one is drilled well out to center field. It's going to be over Albert's head and bounces over the fence for a ground rule double. Harris knocks in a pair, and it's quickly 2-0 Hopkins. And boy, just what the doctor ordered for the Royals. We talked about not always when you talk about, you know, let's jump on them early, does it pay off as much as this has. And Harris has been attacking. And boy, Drew, it really easy to see that Hopkins must have been really talking about we need to attack early against Ask, not let us get ahead of him. Yeah, definitely aggressive at the plate, and Harris just missed getting that one over the fence, but squared it up and drove a single hop to the center field fence and brought in those 2 runs. Wayzata a little fortunate that ball actually got over the fence because Harris probably would have been a third. Will Stein is the hitter now, .293 average for him. Couple of home runs, 11 driven in, and he hits the ball well to center. Albert going back, and it's over his head. Harris got a late start, so he's going to be held at third, as it did appear that that ball maybe was going to be caught. So he's not able to score, but Stein will be in at second. think we'll call that one a double. It might have ticked his glove, but it was not a very easy play out there.
Yeah, definitely a very, very hard hit ball. Another one, just like Harris did in the previous at-bat, but that one driven to center field. Could have had a chance at it, but he's on the run over his shoulder. It goes off his glove, and Harris had to hold up because he was in position to tag up. And, you know, on that kind of line drive, if you got speed at second base, you could possibly tag up and score that run. So he had to hold up and ended up tagging it up, getting down to third there.
Sickink is the batter now. 2-0 lead, second and third, and just one out. And there's that breaking ball over for a strike. And I think the Royals may be feeling, they know, you know, certainly have seen Ask and know that he's, you know, got a very good curveball, maybe trying to get ahead early in the count and then go to that for his out pitch, and they were swinging early at fastballs. And this could be an adventure again out in right field, this time caught. Runner is tagging and will score. Throw's going to come to third, and they get the out there. I believe the run should count.
Yep.
As the runner scored, yes, the run does count as we get the signal late there. So fly out for Sickink, a sacrifice fly. Harris scores to make it 3-0, but then they do record the out. Alert play by Wayzata here. You realize you don't have a shot at the lead runner, but they do get Stein at third base to get out of the inning. But what a great start for Hopkins as they come up with 3 runs in the inning on 3 base hits, 1 big error for Wayzata, and no one left on base courtesy of that double play. As you get a look at the batting lineup for Bobby DeWitt and the Wayzata Trojans, Colin Stamp will lead it off. Keegan Nickel at shortstop. Brennan Albert in center. Carter Tibbetts at first base. Ben Leitner, the left fielder. Turner McIntosh, who had the big go-ahead hit in their win over Armstrong to keep them into the tournament the other day. Josh Gullickson at third base. Brendan Brolin catching, and Max McCarthy, the right fielder for the Trojans. And the defensive alignment for Hopkins, Sickink at third base, Fiducia at short, Filimavicius at second base, Calvin Harris at first, Polyak, Johnson, and Stein in the outfield, Jake Perry behind the plate, and doing the pitching is Wyatt Nelson. Wyatt, a 4-2 record coming in. He also has 1 save, a 2.41 earned run average. He has worked 32 innings, allowing 21 hits, walked just 11. And, 14, and fanned 51.
Now batting for the Trojans, the second baseman, number 6, Colin Stamp.
So Stamp stepping in here against Nelson, and he swings at the first pitch and drives a fastball into center field. And boy, if the first handful of batters are any indication, we're going to see some aggressive swings and possibly a lot of runs in this one.
Yeah, they're definitely squaring the ball up, too. There's not a lot of pop flies or weakly hit ground balls. They're really putting some power into those swings and lining up that ball.
So Keegan Nickel will step up for the Trojans, hitting .297. 6 doubles, a home run, 9 driven in. He scored 19 times. Had a sac fly the other day against Armstrong as part of their rally. They were trailing that one 2-0.
Yeah, that's why is that team doing a great job this section bracket, losing that first round game as the top seed, coming up through the losers bracket and making it back here to the championship round.
Yeah, they had a couple of really good games with Armstrong. They lost the first one, as Drew mentioned, and then came back to beat them on Wednesday. And Hopkins has stayed unbeaten. They've played well in this tournament, but there have been some good close games all the way through. The Minneapolis team's actually, coming through and giving some pretty good performances as well and making these teams work. Liner back up the middle. That'll get through for a hit for Nickel. Stamp will hang on at second base. So 2 batters, 2 base hits for Wayzata. If they were phased any by Hopkins getting 3 in the top of the first, it isn't showing.
We're going to get a quick mound visit here to talk about pitches and make sure you're not telling or showing anything, because you don't want those Wayzata hitters to have any idea what's coming to the plate. And now with the runner at second, you want to make sure you're on the same page with your catcher, whether you're throwing a breaking ball off speed or a fastball, and where you're going to be located. But Jay, you were talking about Wayzata's path to get here and Hopkins' path here to get here. The first night of the tournament we worked, we talked about how 1 through 4, these teams thought each team could be a 1, 2, 3, or 4. And once the seedings were set, they said, all right, seedings are set. It doesn't matter. We got to go out and play and win, because everybody knew that those top 4 teams were pretty equal. St. Louis Park took an early exit from the tournament, and here we are with Wayzata, the top seed, challenging Hopkins, who easily could have been a 1 seed as well.
Yeah, I think the consensus is that if Hopkins had been able to beat Wayzata in the last regular season game, that it would have been them to be the number 1 seed. They have a slightly better record. The teams ended up tying for the Lake Conference title, as I said. Wayzata a real regular visitor. They seem like they've been in this championship, you know, virtually every year that Bobby DeWitt's been here. They have been a regular visitor, and they've won it often. And, you know, when it happens that many times in a row, you kind of start to feel like this is a trend, not just, you know, a little anomaly for a team to keep getting back here. They're doing something right in that program, obviously, and in their youth program leading up to it.
Yeah, it's hard to see a team program take a big drop down. When they win, that kind of feeds down to the underclassmen, and then they carry that into the next season. And then the younger kids see that success, and they want to continue and feel that pressure to win and succeed, and whether it's making the state tournament or not, or just making it a deep run into the section. That's what these teams always strive to do. And you know, you're seeing Hopkins and Wayzata put together a pretty good track record here over the past few years.
Well, Wyatt Nelson gave up a couple of immediate hits and then maybe pitched a little bit more careful to Albert, and he ends up walking him. So Carter Tibbetts will bat with the bases full here for Wayzata. They trail 3-zip, but certainly appear to be on the path to maybe getting a run or two, or who knows how many here in this first inning as well. Tibbetts hitting .254 on the year, 6 doubles, a home run. He's driven in 13. Uh-oh, that one way up high. Nice job to pop up out of the crouch there by Perry.
Yeah, nice work there by Perry to get up and out of his crouch early. A breaking ball, fortunately, wasn't a fastball. It probably would have gotten by him. But
yeah, I don't think there was much chance he would have been able to catch a fastball at that location. And that one's in the dirt. Nelson laboring here in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, I think we're going to start to see some discussions in the dugout. If he's feeling the pressure, and if you want to maybe make a quick change with this 3-0 lead, you don't want to put Wayzata in a position to take this lead, to grab a lead early in the game when you had such a great start in the top of the first.
There's a strike over the outside part. Of course, there was a lot of people kind of wondering. Miles Halligan has been just outstanding for the Royals this year, but struck out 18 Armstrong hitters in their win Monday. You know, would he be pitching the first game? And Coach kind of said he's available today, so that made me think he's probably lined up for game 2. As there's a fly ball to right field, the catch is made, runner is tagging.
Good toss.
And the throw will come to third, so Wayzata on the board. Cullen Stamp scores on the sacrifice fly by Tibbetts, and it is a 3-1 ball game.
Nice at bat there by Tibbetts, worked the count, got a good pitch to hit, was just a little late, but popped it up deep enough to right field to get that runner in from third. But a good strong throw by the right fielder and good positioning to put his body behind that ball before he caught it and throw it. Kept that runner from tagging up from second down to third.
Ben Leitner fouling one back. It kind of almost feels like Wayzata learned the lesson from Hopkins in the play that ended the top of the first. You can't just assume they're going to try and throw home there.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to run yourself out of a big opportunity, which they have still here with only one out.
Ooh, that one up near his head is ducking out of the way. It was Leitner.
And we do have some activity down there with a couple players warming up down in the Hopkins bullpen.
Leitner hitting a .266 this year. He's got 5 doubles. He's knocked in 9 runs so far and has an opportunity to add to that total here.
Just missed that one. I think he was expecting to get a strike call there, but his inconsistency here early in the game put the umpire in a tough spot where he wasn't able to give him the strike call, and ball's behind in the count.
That one is over for a strike. And Nelson leaves that one up high, so count running full here to the number 5 hitter in the Wayzata lineup, Ben Leitner.
Nelson seems to be trying too hard. Just rock back and throw. You have good pitches. Trust yourself. Just throw strikes.
And a cut and a miss. Nelson comes back to get Leitner for out number 2, and now Turner McIntosh will be the hitter for Wayzata.
For the Trojans, the designated hitter, number 4, Turner McIntosh.
Tough pitch to hit in a good spot there. McIntosh hasn't had a ton of at-bats, but we said a very key base hit, a double to make it a 4-2 lead in the last game against Armstrong that provided the go-ahead runs. McIntosh, 174 average, 1 homer, 5 runs batted in, and again, not a ton of at-bats, 23 on the season. Rip and a miss.
That's where you want to see those fastballs going down below the waist and just above the knees. See Nelson leave a lot of pitches up in the zone and kind of off the plate. If you're throwing fastballs over the plate, you want to keep them low because those are tough for hitters to drive.
McIntosh asking for time here. Yeah, breaking ball hung up high. The Hopkins fans groaning on that one. They were pretty sure it was going to be a strike, but might have crossed the plate a little bit high, perhaps. 2-1 count here to McIntosh. Comes back fastball and throws that one by him. So 2-2. Nelson, as rocky of a start to the inning as he had, he could be one pitch away from getting out of it without too awful much damage done here.
Yeah,
still a 3-1 lead.
It's a huge accomplishment to get out of this inning, only giving up 1 run. See if you can come through and get this batter out.
And he does just that. High fastball, swing and a miss, and McIntosh down on strikes. The the Trojans are done in the first. 1 run, a couple of base hits, and they leave 2. An inning complete. It's 3-1 Hopkins.
CCX Media, your source for great local programming, is now available on Apple TV. Our free app allows you to stream all 3 of our channels live. You will also have access to our large on-demand library, including daily newscasts and full sporting events. To find us, go to the App Store and search CCX and download our free app. Then sit back and enjoy all your favorite local content. The CCX Media app, now available on Apple TV, coming soon to Roku.
What makes your community feel like home? Is it knowing what's happening in your neighborhood? Or when people know your name? Connections make us a community. For more than 30 years, Northwest Community Television has connected citizens, neighbors, even sports fans through video. As life gets busier than ever, we will still offer you a connected community experience through CCX Media, so you can stay connected to the place you call home.
Well, an eventful start to this one. 4 runs total in the first inning after Hopkins got 3 in the top of the first. Wayzata answers with 1 in the bottom. So 3-1 lead. Parker Johnson stepping in for Hopkins as they have the 7, 8, 9 hitters coming up against Wayzata starter Blake Ask. A little tapper foul at the plate there. Johnson at .235 for the season. Does have a little pop though. 5 doubles, 1 home run. He's scored 9 and driven in 11 runs this year. And he hits this one pretty well out to left field. That's a long run back toward it, and that one's going to bounce out as well for another ground rule double. Some well hit balls early in this game as Parker Johnson driving one a long way over the head of Leitner in left. And again, keep in mind the wind's a little bit of an issue here too. I think it makes things even a little tougher yet for the outfielders too.
Yeah, anything going out to left field is going to carry an extra 10 to 15 feet. And that was just a good job of hitting to go with the pitch, low and outside, drive it to the opposite field, and it goes over the left fielder's head.
Strike, throw down to second, not quite in time. Pretty good throw, and there was a big lead taken by Johnson, but they're not quite able to get him.
Yeah, Johnson had a pretty large extended secondary lead there, and good strong throw down to second just about got him, but good hustle to get back to the bag.
So Filomavicius squaring as if he were going to bunt on that first pitch. Slices this one foul and out of play. He's hitting .233 on the year. He's scored 10 runs, 3 doubles to his credit. Gets out of play again here.
protect that plate. 2 strikes here. You want to put that ball in play on the right side of the field. If you can get something to drive to the center field or left field, you do that. But if the ball is anywhere on the outside side of part of the plate close to a strike, you got to fight it off and either foul it off or put it in play to the right side to get that runner on third base. That's your job here.
And there's Ask coming with that curveball and gets the strikeout.
And he was trying to push that ball to the right side, but a good breaking ball caught him off guard, and he wasn't able to reach out and get that, and he's over it and not able to reach it. Good strikeout there.
Kyle Fiducia, the hitter, 296 average for him this year. 14 runs scored, 8 driven in. So the Royals unable to get that leadoff batter over. He's still at second with 1 out, and there's a big swing and a miss.
Yeah, Ask starting to feel comfortable with that breaking ball. The more he throws that, the stronger it gets. And I remember him pitching earlier this season. He kept throwing that breaking ball, and it was almost impossible for the hitters to line it up and actually figure out where to hit it.
And Blake's, a veteran pitcher by high school standards, but at the same time, it's got to be tough when you come out and, you're all fired up for the section final and kind of get hit around a little bit in that first inning. But, they're going to need him to battle back and kind of keep this one where it's at and give their offense a chance. Runner is going. Throw down to third is in time. Ooh. Parker Johnson caught stealing. A gamble there for the Royals. And it does not pay off as Brolin coming up throwing.
Nice positioning by the third baseman. Good strong tag. I think if he would have just stuck his hand in there without trying to do the deke, he would have been safe. But nice job by the third baseman to get that hand down there and tag him out.
Johnson thought he got that hand in there. Ooh. Doesn't get the call. This one lifted a long way to left field, and it is gone. Home run. Number 9 hitter Kyle Fiducia pounding one out, so that caught stealing looks even bigger now. But they get a home run with the bases empty to make it 4-1 lead. And Drew mentioned it. We could feel it where we're sitting near home plate, that balls are going to get some lift from the wind going out to left field.
Yeah, and I don't think that ball gets out without this wind, but he drives it solid. It probably would have been over the left fielder's head, but that wind carries it a good extra 10 to 15 feet, and you see it just clears the fence to put Hopkins up 4-1. You can tell right off the bat, though, that was hit very solidly, squared up. And Hopkins seems to be seeing these pitches very well. And Ask if he's not throwing that breaking ball strong, and he's going to have a tough afternoon.
Luke Poliak steps in, and he tags one a long way to left field. This is a fair ball. It stays in play, obviously. A couple of bounces, and now the throw coming in, but he will trot into second and then make a late dive with the double. So Poliak is now 2 for 2.
No. Yeah, he knew he just missed a home run, but he kind of did the softball double. Hey, he knew he short hopped the fence and he was going to coast into second, but good hustle by Wayzata to get that ball in and actually almost make a play out of that second base. But you can see just misses that. The apex of that one, Jay, wasn't high enough for it to get out of the park, but another strong swing by these Hopkins Royals, and that ball just short hops the fence and he ends up with a double.
Yeah, he got out front of it just a little bit, it felt like, but still had enough to get it to within, several feet of the fence there. So Jake Perry will be the hitter. He flied to center field his first time up, gave it a pretty good ride. And sliced out of the play. Boy, and it gets interesting, I think, choices too for coaches when you see, Blake Ask, by looking at things, has really been probably their best pitcher this year, but he's getting hit around pretty good here early. How long of a leash do you go with? And how score dependent is that also in a spot like this? You don't want to panic and make it seem like you've lost faith in your guy or anything like that, but you have to be thinking about, there's no tomorrows if they don't win this one.
Just missed that. But yeah, Jay, I think you're right. We're going to see that happen probably in the next 2-3 batters, because if he gets out of the inning, he's going to come back out there for the third inning. But if he gives up another run or two here to the heart of the Hopkins order, it's going to be a tough decision for this Wayzata coaching staff to keep him in or not.
Skied out to center field. Albert seems to have it measured, and he will make the catch. So they get out of the inning, but one more run scores on the solo homer by Fiducia. 1 run on 3 base hits, all of them extra base hits. No errors and no one left on. We go to the bottom of 2. It's 4-1 Royals.
CCX Media is the first place you go for local news and sports. But did you know you can sign up for those stories to go straight to your inbox on our website? Simply go to ccxmedia.org. Click on the subscribe button, and from there choose which notifications you want to receive. Then we'll send your favorite CCX Media news, sports, and city events straight to your inbox. Sign up now at ccxmedia.org.
Welcome back here to Hopkins High School on a hot Friday afternoon. Jay Wilcox, Drew Keogh with you here. The Section 6 4A Baseball Championship. Setting the scene for you again here. Hopkins has no losses in the tournament, so they need just one win. And Wayzata would need to sweep a doubleheader to take the section title, and we've had a lot of offense early. Hopkins leading it 4-1. Wayzata will have the bottom third of the order coming up. Gullickson, Brolin, and McCarthy will hit. And here's a look at how things have shaken out in this tournament. Again, it's a 6-team tournament is all it is. And starting here in the second round, and Armstrong and Hopkins met up, and that was a close ball game until later, and Hopkins pulled away, won it 4-1, and then Wayzata defeating Armstrong 4-2 on Wednesday. Those were the final 3 teams left, and obviously here we sit now in this championship round. Here's Josh Gullickson stepping in for Wayzata, and he slices that one foul and out of play.
Yeah, I think Wayzata's feeling pretty good. They're only down 4-1. I was talking to the St. Louis Park team coach, and he said that loss they had to Hopkins, he was just overwhelmed. They came out swinging those bats and jumped out to an 11-1 lead and blew them out of the water. They never really had a chance to catch up, and fortunately for here, Wayzata, they kind of stopped the bleeding early, and they're only down 4-1. Could have been much more.
Yeah, the Royals have had 2 base runners thrown out at third, one of them trying to move up on a fly ball to right. So look at Bobby DeWitt, the Trojans head coach, former Gophers pitcher, and then also caught stealing at third for Hopkins. There's a swing and a miss. Gullickson strikes out, and looks like Wyatt Nelson has settled in a little bit. The last 3 batters he's faced, he's struck out.
Yeah, he's keeping that ball down in the zone. The more he can keep that ball down in the zone, the better his breaking ball becomes. That's what you want to see him kind of work in this afternoon, is to kind of get a good run here for Hopkins and put them in a position to win this section.
Pitch taken low for a ball. Brandon Brolin, the Wayzata catcher, 196 average for him on the year, although he has walked 8 times, so is on base a more respectable 311. Lifting this one up, and again, watch that sun, but looks like Filimavicius has that one measured, and he'll make the grab.
A nice job to track that ball down early from the bat and use that glove to block that sun and keep an eye on it. Get that second out here for Hopkins.
Now batting for the Trojans, the right fielder, number 9, Max McCarthy.
Max McCarthy stepping in. Bouncing one to short, throw across is in time. Boy, off the bat, it seemed like that one was hit harder, and they actually backed up a little bit to play it at Paducah, but he'll get the out. So Wayzata done in the second. No runs, no hits, and no one left. After 2 innings, it's 4-1 Royals here on CCX.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
We head to inning number 3 here at Hopkins. Wyatt Nelson Calvin Harris and Will Stein will hit for Hopkins here in the top half of the third. Nelson reached on an error, that fly ball that was lost in the sun. Little tapper down to second, and well played and charged nicely there by Stamp, and you'll get the out. Boy, and you can always feel more confident on this turf too to play balls like that.
Yep, you can almost take a step back almost every time and then read it and check those bounces. You're not going to have any unexpected bounces unless it hits that mound.
Calvin Harris will be the hitter. He pounded a double to knock in a pair the first time. Now Hopkins, as much as you'd like to think so, you kind of know maybe that every inning isn't going to go like where you're hitting bombs left and right. I mean, that's the goal, and it may very well happen that they continue to hit, but you kind of, things settle in. It looks like both pitchers have settled in a little bit now too, and there's, and then he plunks Harris with that one.
Yeah, he kept going inside. He thought he had that first pitch strike on the inside corner, but it was a little too inside, and that one a little bit further inside, and catches him kind of, looks like right in the elbow or the thigh, it looks like. So kind of a meaty part, not a bony part, which is always a good thing if you get hit.
Well, it's no fun to get hit, and you also, lose the opportunity to swing the bat. But you have to look at it team-wise and say, okay, we got a runner on. That's a good goal to reach, is getting on base any way you can.
Yeah, I'm sure Harris wanted to swing the bat there, but getting on base is your goal. You want to move yourself around the base paths, but it's a big bat that it took out of his hand there.
Stein a rip and a miss. He reached on an error too. I concur with our truck and seeing the replay. The ball hit the center field. Initially it called it a double, but it went right off Albert's glove. So score that one as an error as well. That pitch in the dirt. Lifted back, foul and out of play.
Just a tad late on that. That was a good pitch to drive up in the zone. Just a little too late.
Runner is going. Good pitch to throw on. Throw down is in time. And Brolin is 2 for 2 on throwing runners out. This one at second base. The previous one was at third. Couldn't ask for a much better pitch to throw on. I mean, it was almost in a spot where you would throw a pitch out.
Yeah,
and it didn't really seem like Harris got that good of a jump either.
Yeah, another nice tag by the Wayzata Trojans out there in the field, but a great throw by the catcher. He had a good pitch on the outside part of the plate to kind of help him step out of the zone and make that strong throw, and now they get out of the inning.
Ass comes back with a nice breaking ball, so it turns out he faces only 3 batters in the inning. No runs, no hits, and no one left on. We go to the bottom of 3, still 4-1 Hopkins.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of you, I felt wanted and not alone in this world.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included, and I knew that I was going to be okay.
Our hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps.
Did Pete saying mean things bother you?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
We've had plenty of action in the early going here. 4-1 Hopkins lead. They scored 3 runs in the top of the first and 1 more on a solo homer in the second. Wayzata, first 2 batters singled and a walk and then a sac fly, but then Wyatt Nelson has settled down a little bit in his pitch well since. Cullen Stamp, Keegan Nickel, Brennan Albert, the top of the order up for Wayzata here in the bottom of the third. And Stamp gets hit by a pitch.
Not how you want to start this inning, but here you got to focus down. Wyatt Nilsson, of course, having a great season. And, of course, we were talking about Miles Halligan earlier on the strikeout game he had against Armstrong. I think he had another game earlier in the season where he had double-digit strikeouts. But Wyatt Nilsson doing his part and saying, hey, I'm a number one pitcher myself. And Wayzata's got to start taking advantage of these base runners that they get out there.
Keegan Nickel stepping in. And he drives it a long way to right field. And that one is going to stay in the park and be caught. Wow. I thought off the bat that one had a decent chance to go, but it doesn't quite happen for Nickel.
Wow, great play by the right fielder there. Tracked that one down easily. Made it look so easy, but he was running up against the fence. That ball just about left the park and to make it a 4-1 game, but instead it's one out here, and the Trojans have the runner back at first.
Yeah, bumping up against the fence as Will Stein made that catch. So Brennan Albert will be the batter. He walked his first time up.
I got it.
Driving that one back foul toward the bleachers here. Breaking ball is down low, and Albert able to lay off that one.
Good communication by the infield there for Hopkins. It was a fake steal, and they said going, and Perry started to kind of position himself to scoop that ball up, but after he heard that was not going, he realized he had time to make sure he blocked that ball and didn't have to rush and make a throw it on a second.
Ooh, that one high and tight. That's a good point that I don't think a lot of times people realize just how much communication is going on and needs to go on in a baseball game. It isn't just the signs from the catcher to the pitcher or anything like that either.
Yeah, there's usually a kind of an infield and an outfield captain who's the voice that makes the final decision for pretty much every play, because you know I coach youth baseball, and a lot of kids think baseball is one of those boring sports where you kind of stand around, but every play there is something for every position player to be doing, and you want to keep that in mind so you stay in the game. You don't get caught off back on your heels, but making sure that your catcher knows where the runner is a key part of keeping those runners from stealing bases.
I always remember kind of enjoying, you know, when you're playing in the field, thinking if the ball's hit to me, where am I going with it? And you know, if it's hit right at me, is it different than if it's a little slow roll or things like that? Kind of keep yourself in the game that way too. And at the knees, a called third strike. Albert didn't like it, but that is out number 2.
That's a tough out to take for Wayzata there. That ball just a little bit on the outside part of the plate, maybe a little low, but seemed to be kind of tailing back in. And you know, if it's that close and the umpire is going to call it, you got to try and protect that plate. You're not going to be able to drive every pitch, but if it's close and you got 2 strikes, you got to be up there protecting and trying to follow those pitches off.
Carter Tibbetts, the hitter. I agree with your sentiment there, Drew, but I also would say if I were Brennan, I couldn't fault him for taking that one. I don't think it was quite high enough.
You never want to leave it in the umpire's hands, though. I mean, it's easy to say in this position, but yeah, I would probably take that pitch as well.
That one way short, but a nice stop again by Perry. It's one thing for a catcher too, playing on this turf. It's different, I think, blocking balls here probably than it would be with, you know, dirt. And there's pluses and minuses. It's probably a little truer hop here, but a little faster hop, I would think.
Yeah, a little more of a skip, I think, is the way I would describe it. But it definitely comes with practice. The more you can practice on this surface, you kind of know where that ball's going to go, because you don't have any maintenance on this field. You're just kind of going out there, and the field's in the same condition every time.
High and tight with that one again.
It's almost like when you field balls over at first on the turf, or throw balls over on the turf from third base. You want to short hop it because the ball actually pick up a little bit of speed when you hit the turf.
Pop back, foul and out of play. I always remember seeing that some of the first major league fields that had turf, where you'd see people intentionally
like
bounce
the
at the throw.
Metrodome and the Astrodome. Oh man, and that's a different type of turf too. But yeah, you can pick up more speed on that because it's a stickier surface. This is a little more of a realistic or a synthetic grass than that old turf back in the Dome or the Astrodome.
Runner going there as they were not holding him on anymore. Stamp able to get himself a real big lead.
Yep, I think with a full count here, you know the runner's going to go, and you want to give your first baseman a little bit more room to work with.
Yeah, especially in a 2-out situation and everything too. The main thing is just to get the batter here. Again, he takes off, and that curveball just outside. Tibbetts will draw a walk. This time it's Hopkins' turn to groan a little bit there. And so runners at first and second with 2 out now for the Trojans, and Leitner will hit.
Again, a big spot here for Nilsson to bear down and focus and try and get this third out, because a hit here would bring in at least 1.
That went over for a strike. I think on that last ball 4 there, you just got to seeing Nelson's face. I think he kind of was realizing, well, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
I got the call.
You got the previous one. Yeah, exactly.
Not this one. Fouled back. Ooh, that one caught the umpire and shaken up a little bit. He's obviously got the chest protector, but it seemed like it hit him.
Yeah, I think it caught him pretty good right in the pectoral area. Yeah. Fortunately, on the other side, and a Major League Baseball player or umpire the other day caught one right in the other side in the heart area, and he actually had to leave the game, and I think he was rushed to the hospital. But looks like he's going to be okay. A little fall ball kind of slowed that ball down just a little bit, but yeah, never feels good, and it's always you don't know how they're feeling, but a little startling. A little courtesy by the Wayzata team here to kind of talk things over, give the umpire. It's just one of those little things in baseball that goes a long way for sportsmanship.
Yeah, Billy Soul coaching at first base, the former Trojans good ball player, and he played for the Gophers. I was caught off guard when I heard how long he had been gone from Wayzata. When he came to coach this year, I asked Coach DeWitt, and he said it's been, I think he said like 10 years. I was thinking it was more like 5.
Time flies.
And a cut and a miss, and Leitner strikes out. So Nelson gets out of a little trouble here in the third. No runs, no hits, 2 left aboard. We have played 3 full here at Hopkins. It's 4-1 Royals.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, and she convinced me to continue my education.
No one receives a diploma alone.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
4-1 lead for Hopkins as we head to inning number 4, and they will have their 6, 7, and 8 hitters coming up. Fastball taken up high here by Sam Sickink. And that one over for a strike. He had a sacrifice fly his first time up, and then his teammate Stein was thrown out, trying to advance to third on that play, but the run did score. Pop back foul and out of play.
Yeah, it was one of those little things that you practice in the early part of the season, throwing cutoffs, hit those cutoff men, and then communicate. That runner had crossed the plate, and a good strong throw by the cutoff man over to third, caught the runner off guard, and they got out of the inning.
Another example, too, though, make sure you're running hard if you're that guy coming from third.
You always got to expect it coming your way, yep.
Another, a couple steps earlier, and he would not have crossed the plate before the out was recorded. Tried to put a little extra on that breaking ball, and it kind of got away from him there. Oh, a nice breaking ball there, and caught him looking.
That's when you know you have confidence in your breaking ball. You throw that ball, and before it even hits the catcher's mitt, you're turning around and kind of, all right, throw that ball down to third, get it around the horn here. You knew right away that was a strike. That was a great pitch.
So Parker Johnson will bat. He doubled to left in the second inning. Takes a fastball up a little high there, 1-0. Looks like he's able to hold up on that one, so 2-0.
Yeah, a little low in the zone. If he can get that breaking ball to kind of, 50-50, he's going to be in a good spot, but he's not throwing it as accurate as he usually does.
There's the strike.
That's definitely his go-to pitch, and it keeps hitters off balance, and it really frees him up to throw some other pitches. But
oh, and he's hit by that one. As Parker Johnson will head to first. That one hurt. It got him like right in the middle of the lower back, it looked like. And he kind of actually stepped toward the plate a little bit because you could see it was coming at him, and then just kind of turned and took it. Oof.
Caught him like right square in the middle of the back. Not much muscle there to cover that up, but hopefully he's okay. Just maybe a little bruise. But that can affect a lot of stuff. You're swinging, you're throwing, you're running. Pretty much everything you do, you don't think about it until you have something wrong with your back. But when that hurts, it affects a lot in your life.
And you don't really want to get hit in the spine, but you also don't want to get hit like in the kidney area either. So you kind of just take what you can get there. So 1 out, runner at first, and Felimavicius is the hitter. Struck out his first time up. This time a little liner out to center field, and that'll drop in for a hit. And a couple of base runners now for the Royals.
Nice bat there. Drive that ball right up the middle. Not the hardest hit ball this afternoon, but solid contact right up the box, just in front of the center fielder, and now you got 2 runners on.
And Fiducia last time showed that despite being at the number 9 slot, that he has some pop as he drove one out, a solo homer to left. Rip and a miss. It does feel like the wind has calmed some since the start of the game. So
yeah, it's definitely not as gusty. And I think he was trying to hit another one there and swung right over that curveball. But yeah, I don't think those balls that are up in the air are going to go nearly as far as they were earlier in the game.
Tried to get him to chase there and wouldn't go for it. 1-1. Yeah, just the way the game started out, you kind of feel like 4 runs, it's nice to get 4 early, but it may not be enough to win this game. You can't count on it anyway. So they looking to keep scoring. That one is a strike.
Yeah, both teams have had plenty of scoring opportunities, and I think Wayzata is kind of kicking themselves with only that 1 run, but they also got to be kind of happy that they're still in it at 4-1, knowing that Hopkins has kind of run themselves out of a couple outs here. Stop at a catcher there.
Brolin getting out to block that one and smother it. Really nice job. That one could have easily been some trouble because there's a lot of room and foul ground here. If that ball, maybe catches his shin guard and deflects off to the side, that's
yeah, we've seen that before. We at least take 1 base, if not 2.
Tapper back up the middle, could be 2. There's 1. Relay to first base is not in time. Wayzata thought they had an inning-ending double play, but Fiducia able to beat it out.
Great hustle by Fiducia out of the box. That ball chopper up the middle. Nice play by the shortstop. Good job to get that ball over to the second baseman. Good quick turn over to first. Throw looks like it beats him by a half a step, but that's a really tough call, and it's a huge non-out for Wayzata because now Hopkins has one of their best hitters up at the plate in the top of the order, and they have a chance to really put some runs up on the board here in the top of the 4th.
Luke Poliak stepping in, a rip and a miss. He was hitting a mere .556 coming in, and he's 2 for 2 today. So.
I think it was about .576 now, but yeah, he's something to keep an eye on. He kind of, he came into second base a little slow last at bat. We thought it was just him having fun, but I think he kind of tweaked his hamstring just a bit. So something to keep an eye on for this top of the order hitter who's got a great swing and a great on-base average.
Rolling a nice stop there. Interesting spot a little bit here for Hopkins. For sometimes first and third, it's almost automatic you try to go, but Brolin's caught 2 guys
far,
stealing, and then obviously 1 more out would get him out of the inning. So you don't necessarily want to go thinking about running there.
You definitely don't want to take the bat out of these batters. I mean, these top 4 or 5 for Hopkins, any one of these 4 could put a ball over the fence not easily, but they're definitely have the capability. And with Poliak's average, he pretty much every other time he gets on base. So you don't want to take him out of that opportunity and take the bat out of his hands. But now, I believe a much less aggressive of a swing with 2 strikes. You're definitely just trying to put the bat on the ball and put it through a hole, if not drive it if you can.
Little soft liner, and that one is going to be fielded, but nobody to cover first. A run scores, throw to third, and it bounces away, but not far enough to go. So they're able to take advantage of that play. Nice job to track it down here, but then obviously the first baseman
put the runner in position. Yeah, made the second baseman kind of scoot over towards second base, and the first baseman had to try and go track that down. But in the end, the second baseman gets it, but nobody's at first, so he tries to throw over to third. It's just one of those little things where when you do put the runner on the move, it really kind of forces Wayzata to make some decisions and move their defenders around. And that time, it ended up paying off for Hopkins.
Pinch runner there at first base, and what Drew mentioned earlier about the little tweak of Poliak's leg there earlier. So he's run for by Alexei Hangel.
Yeah, and on that previous play, Poliak ended up sliding head first. Nobody was covering the bag, but I think if he was 100%, he probably would have been trying to get down to second when that throw went over to third, and especially when it scooted away from the third baseman.
Jake Perry slide to center field. Both his time's up, and he hits this one high and somewhat deep. But again, Albert able to get under it and make the catch. And so Hopkins adds on to its lead with 1 run in the inning on 2 base hits. No errors and a couple left aboard. We go to the bottom of the 4th. It's 5-1 Hopkins.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Hey! There are amazing things to discover in the forest.
Toothless, time to go! What you picking up on, bud?
It's a whole hidden world of wonders. And the perfect place to spend time with family. What better place to let your imagination soar? Experience nature and create a memory you can share. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest or park near you.
Hot, sunny afternoon. Hopkins leading Wayzata 5-1 here as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Defensive changes for the Royals now as they've got Ryan McGee now into the game at first base, and Calvin Harris has moved out to left. And what we talked about with Poliak maybe being a little dinged up appears to be true, as he did come out of the game for a pinch runner and then does not come back in the game defensively, as you see Harris has made his way out to left field.
Yeah, I think that's one of those long-term plays. You know, he missed a good chunk of the season. Harris is he can play multiple positions, move him out there. You got somebody good on the bench, bring him over to first base. But you want to make sure Poliak rests that hamstring here. Of course, you hope you win this game. If it's not 5-1, it's, you know, you come out on top, and Poliak has a good 3-4 days to rest that hamstring, so he's not out of the order. But big part of the top of the order, and it'd be a tough player to lose.
Turner McIntosh will step up to lead it off for Wayzata here. McIntosh, Gullickson, and Brolin, the scheduled batters here against Wyatt Nelson. Nelson had a rocky first inning, a great second inning, and then hit a batter and walked a batter in the third, but got out of trouble.
Yeah, I think he felt confident and comfortable out there, but then he just got anxious and eager, and he kind of lost control, and he started to squeeze himself and try to throw pitches to spots that, you know, just rack back and throw and trust yourself. He has the skill set. Sometimes the mind just becomes the barrier and forces you to kind of miss your spots and not throw strikes.
Swing and a miss. Pitch low and away there.
Tough pitch to lay off there, but down in the zone works the count full here.
Bouncer down to second. Filimavicius picks it up and flips over to McGee at first base, and one gone here in the fourth, and Josh Gullickson will be the hitter now for the Trojans.
Those are the kind of ground balls you hope for every time. Nice couple hops, catch it right at your shoulder height, running towards first base. Plenty of time. The runner was kind of peeled out before he got the bag, kind of conceding that, hey, that's a pretty easy play for you to make, and you executed it.
Gullickson popping one up foul. It'll get out of play. The way the game started for Nelson, I don't know that I would have been confident that he would have only allowed one run at this point in the game, and he hits another batter here as Gullickson takes that one off the arm.
Yeah, I think he's a little frustrated with himself. He's hit a couple batters today, and yeah, he feels looks like he feels a little pressured from time to time, and the more he thinks about it, the less control he seems to have. But
Roland will be the hitter.
Yeah, Wayzata had a really good opportunity in that first and to really get back into this game, but Nelson did a good job to bear down and get those outs. But see if he can do it here later in the game.
First pitch over for a strike. Roland popped up to the second baseman, his previous at bat.
Something to note, that wind's starting to pick up again. So those balls up in the air will actually begin to carry quite a bit, and they'll play a little game and move from right to left, those outfielders.
Yeah, it's interesting when the sun kind of dipped behind some clouds, the wind sort of calmed, and then now we're back to full sun and full breeze, I think. Able to lay off that one. It's kind of amazing, just in the length of the high school season, whether you go from the first, the week of the first games to the last.
Yeah, you and I were talking earlier off camera that our first game I was saying, hey, we need blankets or sleeping bags. Today we need sunscreens or some of those fans with the misty on it. And but yeah, it's a quick season, quick turn in the weather for Minnesota baseball.
Yeah, we see a few umbrellas in the crowd, and it's not because they expect rain. It's to protect from that sun. Pop back, fouling out of play again.
Great pitch to drive there, just got ahead of it and wasn't able to square that one up. That was right in his wheelhouse.
Reaches out and spoils another one there, knocking it foul down the first base line.
Nice job to fight that outside pitch off and foul it off to stay alive and try and get another pitch to drive here.
Another one foul.
He's just late on those outside pitches. If he could just speed up his bat a tad bit more and kind of put his weight towards his team's dugout, he'd be able to drive that to the opposite field pretty well.
Pounded to third. Get the out at second. Relay to first base, not in time.
Another close play at first base, and again the runner's safe. Good job by the third baseman to field that ball. The ball was hit pretty well down the line. Good scoop, good throw over to second. Nice turn by the second baseman. Had to take a step back and wasn't able to go towards the bag. I think that caused him to take a little bit of velocity on that throw over to first and allowed the runner to get down there just in time.
We'll see a courtesy runner at first base is Jet Delorier. And Max McCarthy will step up.
Good crowd. Pretty much all three stands are packed and got some fans on the fences. It's a good crowd for this section championship game.
And Perry making a nice stop on that one. McCarthy bounced to short his first time up. Wayzata, a team that generally doesn't run a whole lot, and with this score, I think Nelson, that don't mean you can just forget about the base runners, but I don't think he needs to be too concentrating on cutting down the steal attempts, because I don't think they're terribly likely to do so at this point.
Yeah, because I don't think you want to run yourself out of a chance to score here. But I mean, you definitely want to take a chance when you can. But down 5-1, you're kind of running out of outs, and you want to make the most of them.
That one over for a strike. Number 9 hitter here, Nelson really does not want to walk him with the top of the order coming next, and a runner already aboard, even though there are 2 outs. Gets him to pop it up. Little tough one in the wind. Ooh, and just getting back there is Fiducia to make the catch. I think the left fielder Harris saw it real well, so it was kind of left up to the shortstop. Either you get it or nobody does, and he's able to make the play. So for Wayzata in the 4th, no runs, no hits, and they leave 1. We have played 4 innings full here at Hopkins. It is 5-1 Royals.
CCX Media is the first place you go for local news and sports. But did you know you can sign up for those stories to go straight to your inbox on our website? Simply go to ccxmedia.org. Click on the subscribe button, and from there choose which notifications you want to receive. Then we'll send your favorite CCX Media news, sports, and city events straight to your inbox. Sign up now at ccxmedia.org.
Some fans even watching from up on top of the stadium seats there, getting a bird's eye view from on the third base line. So a new pitcher for Wayzata as they pull ask after 4 innings. Sam Peterson, left-hander, has pitched in 6 games, 19 2/3 innings, 1 win, 1 loss, and a 3.20 earned run average. 24 hits allowed and walked 12, fanned 17. Looks like from the numbers that he's generally been one of their guys that's pitched fairly regularly, you know, some bullpen, some start. He's made 4 starts and a couple of relief appearances, so.
Yeah, I think that's, you want to have those kind of pitchers in your on your roster. So if you have one of those busy weeks where you got 4 or 5 games, you can throw him in as a starter, but also give him a chance to come in off the bench late in the game and try and keep that score within striking distance, and so he feels comfortable whether he's starting or coming in relief.
Wyatt Nelson will be the hitter here for Hopkins, their pitcher. Got on the first at bat on a ball lost in the sun by the right fielder. Got a healthy cut, but didn't get it.
Yeah, jumped out a little early on that one, got ahead of it.
Peterson's pitch low and in there.
Just about caught him on the toe, but good job to scoot those feet back.
Yeah, and I think even his teammates might give him a pass for not taking one. When you're the pitcher who's out there with the lead, I don't think you want to be taking one off your top of your foot or in your toe. There's a strike from Peterson. Count runs full now to the leadoff hitter in the bottom of the 5th. top of the 5th for Wyatt Nelson.
Awkward to say with Hopkins at home.
Yeah.
On the road, kind of not sure.
And that one grounded through the left side. Nice effort, but unable to get over to it was Gullickson. So it's a base hit for Wyatt Nelson here, leading off the 5th.
Just enough mustard on that one to get through the infield. Third baseman just about came up with it, but would have been a tough play to get the ball over the third. But that ball gets into left field for a leadoff single here for Hopkins.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see because Gullickson, if he had, gloved that one with that dive, would have had time to get up and get him. Would have been close. Here's Calvin Harris, got hit by a pitch last time up after doubling in a pair in the first.
Yeah, it's a dangerous part of the order here for Hopkins, and it'd be important for Wayzata to keep this game close at 5-1. Already trailing 4 with only 3 innings left, 3 at-bats left for them. They don't want to give up any more runs here.
That one nearly hit him as he spins out of the way. Jumped out in front of that one and blasted foul on the right field line.
And I think the book is to pitch him inside as hard as you can. And I've seen him get hit a couple times this section tournament and throughout the season, but he's got the very wide open stance, which means his front foot is towards the outside part of the batter's box, and he dives in to get a little more power. And if you can keep him inside, it's tougher for them to hit that kind of a pitch. But he's able to get that bat around in a ball with a good swing. Usually he drives it pretty well.
Yeah, he's kind of a tall, rangy hitter too, with trying to keep him from getting those arms extended and really put full power into it. Ooh, got him to chase one up and out of the zone there.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of those swings from Hopkins this afternoon, but definitely chased that one up and out of the zone.
And that one may have been above his head even. That was one of the few guys today we've seen really take a cut at a bad ball. Peterson bluffing to first. Kind of interesting, even on a really hot day, they don't run for the pitcher Nelson, so that kind of tells me that they must think he's a pretty good base runner. Breaking ball, he did not swing.
Yeah,
Roland asking him to check with the base umpire on a swing. He says no.
Yeah, you almost always get a courtesy runner for the pitcher because it's anytime you get a pitcher on base, they can have a courtesy runner. But I think Nelson's a pretty decent athlete, and keeping that speed on the base paths is a good coaching decision here. Pretty big lead over there.
And Peterson sees the same thing and will throw over there. I would say on a day this hot, though, I would strongly consider running for the pitcher just to get him out of that heat a little bit, get a little bit of a break.
These guys are young. They're young.
Nelson takes off. This one lifted out toward right, and again, little sun adventure to deal with, but the catch is made. And Nelson retreats to first base. Will Stein will be the hitter.
Here's just missed that one. Just got underneath it enough to pop it up, but nice play by the right fielder to stay with that ball and field it to get the first out of the inning.
Now batting for the Royals, number 17, Will Stein.
Stein stepping up. He hit the ball nicely. His first time up was off the center fielder's glove, and then last time around struck out. Outside with that fastball. Lifting this one up.
Ooh, nice play.
Nice job to get to it there. As again, another tough one in the sun. Cullen Stamp, second baseman, ends up making the play for out number 2.
Yeah, nice job by him to get out there and kind of keep his body in the position so he can track that ball. He almost turned his back to the sun and towards home plate, but really turned it to second base to kind of shield that sun, keep it out of its way, out of his eyesight, so you can try keep that ball in sight.
Stamp kind of shaking his head like, man, that's tougher than you think. Sam Sickink is the batter here at a sac fly his first time up. He's been a pretty good relief pitcher for them as well, so if Nelson were to get in trouble, that's a guy that we could potentially see. Runner going, and no throw going to be made as Peterson had a pretty slow motion to the plate. He ended up slipping after making that pitch as well, and probably a wise decision by Brolin. He could see that that base was Nelson's for the taking at that point.
Yeah, good jump by Nelson, and I think a late break by both the second baseman and shortstop. I'm not sure they were sure who was covering the bag, but either way there was no throw down, so stolen base in the books for Nelson.
Taken outside for a ball there.
You know, stolen base doesn't seem like that big of a deal, and it won't be a big deal if they get this third out, but that puts him in scoring position. Of course, with 2 outs, he's running on the crack of the bat, so basically any base hit should bring him in and put them up 6-1 now that he's gotten down there with the stolen base.
Lifted to left field. Not nearly as difficult as Sunfield out there, and Leitner makes the catch, so the Royals are done in the 5th. No runs, 1 base hit, and they leave 1. We go to the bottom of 5 here with Wayzata needing a rally. They trail it 5-1.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. Yeah. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to teen-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys. Preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
Ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Top of the order due for Wayzata here as we head to the bottom of the 5th. Wyatt Nelson completing his warm-up tosses for Hopkins as he has been staked to a 5-1 lead. Stamp, Nickel, and Albert getting set to come up here for the Trojans.
This game started off pretty quick with Wayzata swinging early and often, getting some base runners on, putting 3 runs up in the top of the first. Wayzata getting runners on in the bottom of the half, ended up with 1 run, but 3-1 after the first, and it's slowed down quite a bit. And pitchers have seemed to actually, narrow in and find their control zone and keep throwing strikes and not put themselves in too many jams later in the game.
Yeah, it really was interesting how both teams just came out swinging the bat, and it was like anything we saw early in the count, we're going to take a nice hack at it.
Yeah, I think 3 of the first 4 pitches Hopkins swung at, and then Wayzata came up and they got their hacks in right away and made a pretty exciting start to the game. But things have definitely not slowed down, but the runs haven't been as frequent as they were early in the game.
I think sometimes early in the game as a pitcher, you're feeling real strong and you're thinking like, I've got my great fastball today. I can just, bury him in the strike zone early, and sometimes the hitters are ready to go right from the get-go. Stamp drives this one a long way to left field, and it is going to be down for a hit and bounces over the fence. And a ground rule double here for Wayzata's leadoff hitter in the 5th. The Stamp driving that one to straightaway left. They were shading him a little toward left center. Not that Harris was going to have any chance to get to that one anyway, but One thing I would like to see at this park was a little taller fences.
Yeah, very short.
Virtually every ball that's hit on a bounce to the gaps is going over the fence. That's not good.
I'm sure your center field camera likes that they get to kind of stay close to the ground. But
well, that's
it is a very short, short fence in the outfield, pretty much throughout, except for you get to right center where you got that chain link fence.
There's a strike taken by Keegan Nickel. He had a single, and then last time fly to right.
I wouldn't expect Wayzata to play small ball down 4 runs here late in the game. Kind of want to make a big inning of it if you can, and you're not playing for 1 run, you're playing for 2 or 3 if you can.
Yeah, I think Nickel gonna do what he can to really drive the ball here. Ooh, fastball way up and out of the zone.
Interesting to see how long of a leash Nelson has here with a 4-run lead, giving up that leadoff double in the heart of the order coming up for Wayzata. Big spot for him to mow down these out, get these outs, or else Wayzata will be right back in this game.
Yeah, and they have a pretty rested pitching staff. In fact, Coach Michalakis was almost saying possibly too rested. That in a couple of those early games in the tournament, they didn't need to use a relief pitcher. So some of the guys he feels like maybe have been sitting a little longer than you would like in terms of getting in a game, but still, that's the better problem to have, to not have to play those extra games.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that 11-1 win versus St. Louis Park, I was talking to the park coach, he said it's such a huge game because if you win that game, you get, I think, 6 days off, then you win 1 more game, you're in the section championship. That's what the path Hopkins has taken to be here, and thus they have such well-rested arms.
Caught and a miss. Good battle here between 2 of the better players in this section and late conference, Nelson and Nickel. Fights that fastball off and fouls it away.
Probably would have been ball 4, but close enough to be protecting that plate and fight it off, and you live to see another pitch here. Don't want to be taking anything close, but you also want to be able to find something that you can drive and lay off anything that's not within that strike zone. Looks like they're staying in the outside part of the plate.
Fastball low, taken for a ball, and Nickel will take a walk here. So first 2 batters reach here for Wayzata in the 5th, and Brennan Albert, the center fielder, will step up.
And Nilsson thought that pitch was closer than it looked, and I think part of the reason he didn't get the call there was that his catcher had set up on the outside part of the plate, and that ball came in low on the inside part to that left-handed hitter. Big spot here for both teams. Again, another position where you'd expect a sacrifice, but this late in the game with this part of your order up, I wouldn't expect Wayzata to be putting down a bunt and try and move those runners along.
And they're not going to need to worry about that. Pitch is low and gets away, and a big turn around third, but Stamp will hold up. So wild pitch. Perry's made some good stops. That one was real tough.
Yeah, that was first ball I think we've seen get by him this afternoon. I think we're going to have a talk here to, hey, keep your composure. We've seen you pitch well throughout the season. These runs don't matter, but we don't want to give them up. But we'll trade them for outs if we can. Just don't give up pass balls and trust your defense.
Looks like there's going to be some activity starting up down the way in the bullpen for Hopkins as well. They might be talking a little bit too here. Do you want to pitch around Albert to put the force back in play and, have the bases loaded too?
And I think that'd be an interesting decision if they did that, because that bring the game time run to the plate.
Yeah,
But yeah, it definitely does put the force out back in play, and maybe that's something they talk about. Hey, let's not intentionally walk him, but don't feel like you lost this game yet, because you have a lead, and if you end up walking him, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Fastball taken down low. And got him to chase that one.
Yeah, down and out in the zone. Took a little bit off it and got him to chase it. Get that first strike.
Fastball high and away, and with this lead, Hopkins playing an infield back, which certainly is what you would expect in this spot too. Really no
you'll
reason
trade
not to.
Definitely trading out for a run in this position. Trade 2 outs for 2 runs probably.
That one over the corner for a strike. So battles back. Nelson does to run the count full. And a cut and a miss. Nelson, big pitch there as he gets the strikeout for out number 1.
Yeah, huge strikeout there for Nelson to get a key batter out with 2 runners on.
And especially after he fell behind like he did, it really seemed like he was maybe on the way to losing him there.
Yeah, having just thrown that pass or that wild pitch earlier and letting the runners move down to second and third, come back and get that first out via strikeout. Huge focus here by Nelson.
Tibbetts drove in the first run, or only run for Wayzata so far, with that sac fly in the first inning, and then last time around walked. Lifting this one out to right field. Again, the sun could be an issue, but catch is made. Runner is tagging and coming home. The throw cut off and not going to be in time, and Stamp will score Wayzata's second run of the game. Tibbetts getting another sacrifice fly, but as Drew said, at this point in the game, Hopkins will take that, getting it out and giving up a run.
Nice play by the right fielder there again to track that ball down. And that's something that Hopkins can practice here, because I believe Wayzata's field is rotated a little bit, where their right field, their back is to the sun usually in the afternoon, so they don't get to practice that ball coming through the sun in right field, whereas Hopkins gets to practice that pretty much anytime they're out here in the field.
And Leitner, the hitter, and Perry has to make a good stop there. Leitner's had a little struggle so far, a couple of Ks. Runner on second and 2 outs now for Wayzata. They've scored a run to pull within 3. Pounded just foul down the third baseline.
Yeah, about a foot shy of making this game 5-3. Another runner on second, but fortunately for Hopkins, that ball ends up going foul.
Drives it out to left field. Harris took a step in. This one's trouble, and it's over his head for a ground rule double. Another run scores as Nickel trots home. Leitner bangs one out to left field and will wind up on second base, and now a 5-3 ball game.
Yeah, a line drive to left field. I think Harris took his first step in, and then he kind of thought he had a track on it, and his tall frame is just short of tracking that ball down for the third out, and it bounced short hops and skips over the fence, and now Wayzata one swing away from tying this game up.
Turner McIntosh, the batter, and he will knock one up the middle for a hit. Should score a run, maybe, maybe not. Here comes the throw. Now there'll be a throw down to second, and they do get the out at second, but the run does count as Leitner comes in to score on the base hit by McIntosh. And the inning will come to an end. Wayzata tightened things up considerably there. 3 runs in the inning on 3 base hits, and no one left on base. So we have now finished 5 innings, and it's 5-4 Hopkins.
Completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. I have a mentor, and she convinced me to continue my education. No one receives a diploma alone. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Well, this one's taken a turn for sure. Hopkins seemed to be somewhat in command at 5-1, but Wayzata gets 3 runs in the bottom half of inning number 5, so they have pulled to within 5-4. 6th inning about to begin. Parker Johnson will hit first. Sam Peterson still out on the hill for Wayzata for his 2nd inning, after coming on in relief of Blake Ask, who worked the first 4. Johnson, a little squibber down to short. Nickel up with it, and we'll throw him out. 1 gone here in the 6th.
Be kind of important for Hopkins to make this inning kind of last a little bit, because Wayzata's definitely feeling the energy. They got the momentum. If they can get 3 up, 3 down, get back in that dugout and get up to the plate, good chance to tie this game up, if not take the lead late in the game.
Filimavicius getting set to bat.
Swapping out the baseball. I think that ball came off the dugout, or off the bat awkwardly. It just kind of had a ton of spin. I think maybe the impact with the turf here may have scuffed up the ball enough that the umpire wanted to swap it out and get a new one in there.
Outside with that one. And that one's a dribbler, but it'll go foul down the first base side.
Yeah, important to note again that Hopkins, even though they're playing at home, the higher seed Wayzata is the home team, so they get, they'll have a couple more bats here, and they'll be last up to bat unless they win the game outright.
Just missed. Peterson held his position, thinking, oh, that one's a strike.
That was a good pitch, right where you wanted it, just a little bit off the plate.
And that one way outside. Tapper here, and Peterson fields it. Low throw. Runner is safe, and now digging for second, and he's going to be in safely as Filimavicius will reach on the error. And then it gets away again, but hangs on there. Peterson mad at himself there. That was a tough play, but he had gotten to it in enough time that I think he was going to get the out if he just makes this throw, but he just throws it right at the ground there. And Tibbetts at that range, it's hard to dig that one out.
Yeah, it's a tough play to make, and I think that ball again, third swing in a row, or third ball in play that kind of came off the very end of the bat and had an awkward spin, and he kind of was running towards the bag like he was going to field it and keep his momentum to tag the bag himself, but as that ball slowed down, he kind of had to make a last-minute decision to pick the ball up, pivot and rotate, and then kind of make a short throw over to first, because you can't throw it too hard, but you also got to throw it fast enough to beat the runner, and unfortunately threw it low, and it made it a tough play for the first baseman and skipped by him.
Yeah, and I think this one, they're coming out to settle Peterson down. He was obviously mad at himself for that play, and you just kind of want to take a deep breath and get things settled. It's not the end of the world. We'll come back and get them.
Yeah, and that's something that goes along with throughout the season. You know these players, you know things that bother them if they're perfectionists, if they can let things go. And, some players need that reinforcement that, hey, stuff happens, don't worry about it. Put it behind you, focus on getting these next 2 outs. And so we can get up there and hit that ball around again, just like we did last inning.
Fiducia stepping up, and he will bunt it. Peterson, they'll make him make another throw, and this time we're right on target as he gets the out. And they move the runner to third.
Interesting decision there to lay the sacrifice bunt down to get that runner down to third with 2 outs. But maybe what Hopkins is thinking is they've seen Peterson be a little bit wild with his pitches, and maybe put that runner in scoring position or put him on third base so a pass ball will bring him in. But also, you got a very good hitter back up at the plate, and here he is.
Polyak re-enters, 3 for 3. Other than a miss. Scoreboard has briefly gone. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the old scoreboard. Never mind. I see
it is confusing. I agree.
There are actually 3 of them out here, but lifts this one out to left field, and it keeps on going, and it is gone. Wow, I did not think that one was going to have enough, but we talked about that breeze, and Polyak continues his hot postseason and drives one out for a 2-run home run.
Wow. Yeah, that ball now looks like it was hit very hard, but if you have a good swing and good power behind that swing, you don't have to make it look like you hit it too hard. Just put the barrel of the bat on there, get your weight going, and get it up, especially in that air today. That wind kind of carried that out, and see, the left fielder thought he was going to have a chance in that right off the bat, but he kept trotting back. He's like, that thing just kept going and going and going.
Yeah, I'm kind of following Leitner's body language there, and it seemed as though he thought he was, going to be able to have a play on that, and all of a sudden he ran out of room. So Jake Perry will be the hitter. Perry ropes one down the first baseline. That's a fair ball. No,
he didn't see it. Umpire didn't see it.
Foul ball, apparently.
Yeah, the first base umpire did kind of a pirouette because he was getting out of the way. And so he had to refer to the home plate umpire, and the home umpire called it foul. I didn't see it. We don't have the best angle, but I think that's where the confusion happened, because usually that's the first baseman's going to call that once he gets past the first base.
And Perry was digging. He was thinking he was going to get 2 out of that. It was kind of it certainly was a delayed call. It was very hard to tell, but with the naked eye, I thought it was fair.
Oh, that's close.
Very close.
Very close. And of course, all the Hopkins fans are right behind the plate, have a perfect angle of that. And
so a near miss there for Perry, but he's still alive with an opportunity to try and do some damage. Takes that one for a ball. Boy, that error by Peterson. Now he'd really like to have that one back. They would have been out of the inning. Well,
yeah,
would have been the second out, and then I guess it's hard to say what would have happened from there. But or if nothing else, would have been a solo homer instead of a 2-run. Oh, boy. And Nickel makes a great diving stop, not quite able to get the out. First of all, it nearly took Peterson down for the count, but then a great stop by Nickel. It'll be an infield hit for Perry.
I can't believe he came up with that ball.
No,
that was a great play.
I was ready to give up on that one too, and he had a super great play against Armstrong earlier in the tournament. I like that. Courtesy runner on for Hopkins now is Jason Schumacher, running for the catcher, and Wyatt Nelson will bat. Pitch is low, and they stop by Brolin.
Good pitch. Just outside.
So 2-0 now to Nelson as Hopkins tries to build on this 7-4 lead. Their lead had been trimmed to 5-4, but then 2-run homer by Polyak here in this inning has made it back to a 3-run lead. Another one low and Brolin on the block.
Yeah, definitely felt like Wayzata had the momentum at the end of the 5th inning, and they were on pace to make a quick 1-2-3 inning, but a couple things went Hopkins' way, and sure enough, here they are, up 3 runs now.
Low and away, and Nelson will draw a walk.
If you're Peterson here, you just need to focus. You don't want to make the umpire try and take that ball out of your hands, and you just want to throw strikes, and don't let him try and rile you up, and don't worry about, you know, those pitches that were close that you didn't get calls on. The umpire's going to make the calls. You got to put those behind you, and if they don't go your way, you got to focus on the next pitch.
Looks like Peterson is going to be lifted here as Bobby DeWitt comes out, and new pitcher getting set to make his appearance here for the Trojans. So Peterson will get a hand.
Pitching for the Trojans, number 18, Connor Fletcher.
Connor Fletcher will come on to pitch. As he takes his warm-up tosses, we'll step aside for a moment here. Hopkins leading at 7-4.
Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear. Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Welcome back here. Connor Fletcher called in to come on in relief here for Wayzata. Connor 1-0 on the season, 11 2/3 innings. He's allowed 14 hits, walked 5, fanned 7, an ERA of 3.60. So Hopkins hitting with runners at first and second and 2 outs. They've already scored 2 in this inning, and a good hitter coming up with Calvin Harris.
Yeah, big spot here for Wayzata to stop the bleeding here. You want to get out of this inning. You had a good last half of the inning at the plate. Big hitter here for Hopkins, and a swing here would bring in 1, if not 2, maybe 3.
Big breaking ball there and a big swing and a miss. I was watching Fletcher warm up, but he's got a sharp break. That one was kind of more of the slow breaking ball.
Yeah, sweeping breaking ball.
Comes back fastball and fouled away by Harris. Makes that fastball that much more effective when you're able to throw that slow curve for a strike the first pitch.
Yeah, it's a big big benefit to have 2 different types of breaking balls, because then your batters are kind of kept even more off guard.
And another curveball. This one Harris just gets a piece of. Comes back with a breaking ball, but just missed. 1-2.
Tried to get that back door, that outside corner, just didn't catch enough of it.
And fastball, swing and a miss, and Fletcher gets out of trouble here in the 6th. The Royals, though, add a couple more runs on Poliak's home run. 2 runs. 2 base hits. There was 1 error for Wayzata and a couple left aboard. We go to the bottom of the 6th. The Royals now leading at 7-4.
Because of you, I felt hopeless.
I know it was a joke, but it still hurt me.
Because of you, I felt wanted and not alone in this world.
Because you said hi to me on the first day of school, I felt included, and I knew that I was going to be okay.
hearts are made stronger by how we treat others.
Put her there.
The light you share can impact those around you, but so can the darkness.
Later, twerps. Did Pete saying mean things bother ya?
So when you reach out to another person, take a moment to consider how they will feel and let your heart be the key to making a difference. Because of you, someone's entire day, year, or even life can change.
In every heart, there's hope.
Wyatt Nelson back out for inning number 6 with a 7-4 lead. Wayzata will have the bottom third of the order coming up here in the 6th. 7, 8, 9 hitters. Gullickson, Brolin, and McCarthy, the scheduled batters anyway.
Yeah, good to leave Nelson out there. Let him, pitch as deep into this game as he possibly can. Because it's oftentimes when you bring in relievers, and even if you have the lead, they come in feeling that pressure. And if you don't want to break anything, you don't need to fix it if it's not broken. Nelson's, pitching a pretty solid game, having given up 4 runs and had a rough outing in the last inning, but getting 2 more runs back from his offense. So he's got a 3-run lead here. He'll probably have a short leash, but let him go out there and see if he can continue to throw strikes and stay in control.
Fastball over for a strike, 1-1. Down to second. Filimovicius up with it and throws him out. 1 gone. Harris is back there at first base now, as I believe Polyak has stayed and he re-entered. So I guess they figure. No, maybe that's not him out there.
I think it is him. I saw him run out there and do a spin after celebrating and hitting that home run. I think that is him.
And they drive one out to left field, and it's going to bounce for a double, and it is indeed Polyak out there. It's a ground rule double for Brolin. And we said Polyak may be a little dinged up. I don't think anybody was going to get that one anyway.
That ball was hit really well.
Maybe a little bit of a tough choice, though, when you're thinking about we don't want to take Polyak's bat out of the lineup if the game is extended, but you also want to have your best defensive lineup out there late in the game protecting a lead, too. So there's the courtesy runner coming on, Delorier. So McCarthy will bat with a runner at second and 1 out. Popping this one up, it looks like it'll get out of play.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think Hopkins in the section might start talking about. You talked about the short fence out in left field. We've seen, 5 ground rule doubles this afternoon, and pretty much all 5 of those probably would have stayed in the field had there been a little bit of higher fence, maybe an 8 or 10-foot fence like you see down the first and then the third base line outside of the batting cages.
Way up high and out of the zone with that one.
Something else to think about is this is a multi-purpose field, so maybe that's why they keep it so short, so they can move them with ease. But for the integrity of the game, maybe you look into doubling the size of those walls, the height-wise.
Just got a piece of that breaking ball. Way up and out of the zone here from Nelson.
Tried to aim that one, took a little off of it and wasn't able to throw a strike, left it up and out of the zone.
Yeah, and that one down low, so the count will run full.
Good pitch there, tough to lay off, and took that ball low in the zone to work the count full.
And foul down the third base line. Breaking ball and a swing and a miss, and McCarthy down on strikes for out number 2.
Big.
Next up for the Trojans, second baseman, number 6, Colin Stamp.
Cullen Stamp will be the hitter. Breaking ball, he almost thought about taking that one in the back. And there's a fastball over for a strike. Stamp 2 for 3 and also a hit by a pitch. Ooh, and that one almost got him up high. And a cut and a miss as he swings and misses at that high fastball. Breaking ball knocked up the middle. Throw across to first base is in time, and the Trojans are done in the 6th. No runs, 1 base hit, no errors, and 1 left aboard. We head to inning number 7. It is 7-4 Hopkins.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out. Good night.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Get it.
Get it.
Get it.
Give your town a reason to celebrate, because every Goodwill item you bring home brings job training and more to your community. Goodwill, bring good home.
Welcome back here to Hopkins as we go to inning number 7. Will Stein will get set to lead it off here for Hopkins. Fletcher on the mound for Wayzata. He got the last out of the 6th inning. First pitch taken for a strike here as Stein 0 for 3 today. Did reach on an error in the first. Breaking ball misses away. And drives this one out to left field, and that's going to be down for a hit and bounces by. And into second base with the double is Stein. So leadoff man aboard here in the 7th and into scoring position, in fact, for Hopkins, and Sam Sickink will be the batter. Squaring as if to bunt, takes it for a strike. And that's strike 2. So presumably the bunt would be off now in this spot, and this one driven foul a long way down the left field line. Apologize, we're having some technical difficulties here, so Drew has gone silent for a bit here. Fastball away there from Fletcher, trying to get him to expand the zone a little bit, but Sam wasn't going for it, so 1-2. And a cut and a miss. Make the throw to first base and get the out, so one gone here. Parker Johnson will step up for Hopkins.
Parker Johnson.
Fastball missing up high. Johnson had a double in his first at bat. Hit by a pitch in the fourth and ended up scoring. Slicing that one foul. Breaking ball, and he just gets a piece of that one.
Like it or not, Wilcox, I think I'm back.
Fastball driven down the line. It's a fair ball, and they'll score a run. Johnson digging into second, and he's going to make the turn and go for 3. Here comes the throw. It is in time. So good job by Wayzata handling that relay. Not a real easy play. They do end up getting the out. Give Johnson a double and an RBI, and then cut down trying to stretch it to 3. So Stein does score on the play. Wayzata gets the out. 8-4 now, and Filimovicius will be the hitter. Kind of wondered when Parker was making that turn. You know, if they play this ball right, they have a chance to get him, and they did.
Yeah, the ball was hit really well down the line with a lot of velocity, which got out to the right fielder quick enough for him to scoop that ball in, of course, they still have to execute. Make a good, strong throw to the cutoff, turn and make that throw to third base, and a good tag got that runner.
In a different scenario, you could, kind of make the case that, well, Johnson's, making sure they don't throw home, but that wasn't the case there. There was nothing else in play there. That was just him going for 3.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to make an out at third. You never want to make an out at third, but the play was close enough that, 1/2 a second here would have given him that triple instead of getting out at third.
Yeah, and let's be honest, there wouldn't be very many triples if you didn't have a little bit of a gamble going.
Right.
You have to sometimes do that.
Very rarely are there stand-up triples. And when you're up in the game this late, you can take those risks. You know, if they were down, they definitely wouldn't have taken that risk. But being up 3 runs and getting that 4th run across, you can take that risk.
Scorched out to center, and that'll be a base hit as Filimavicius has his 2nd hit of the game. And the Royals not ready to quit hitting just yet. Fiducia will bat.
Another very solid hit ball by the Hopkins Royals. This time right up the middle to the center fielder. Easy to get down to first base for that single.
Fiducia hit a home run early in the ball game in the 2nd inning.
Nice pitch.
Thought about it, but laid off.
Tough pitch to lay off, but a good decision. Take that ball.
High chopper here. Gullickson will cut it off. Little double clutch, but he's able to throw him out. And the inning comes to an end. Hopkins adds an insurance run. 1 run, 3 base hits. No errors and 1 left aboard. We go to the bottom of 7 here. Hopkins holding an 8-4 lead as they try and secure a section title.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Wait, why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where'd the cats go on vacation? New York. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy.
What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it.
Welcome back here to Hopkins. Nick Kenneth is going to come out of the bullpen here for Hopkins to try and close this one down on the year. He's pitched in 8 games, 7 of them in relief. 0-0 with 2 saves, 1.54 earned run average in 22 2/3 innings. He has walked 7, fanned 31. 2-3-4 hitters coming up for Wayzata, Nickel, Albert, and Tibbetts as they bat against Kennett. First pitch is low.
Yeah, interesting decision to bring in a relief pitcher, but Candidates haven't come in relief several times throughout the season. Seems like a good option.
High and away with that one. Yeah, I think you've seen a little bit more of that in high school ball over the last, maybe 10 years or so, where a little bit more, guys are being used as specialty, as relievers, more so than maybe you used to see.
Yeah, and I think that happens with new coaching, new coaches, new philosophies, because, I mean, the closer concept wasn't really that big of a deal until the, maybe late 70s, mid 80s, and then, those kids that grow up seeing that start to take over and coach teams, and they think they have that philosophy of putting these pitchers in specific positions as whether a starter, middle reliever, closer, and I think you're starting to see that more and more often here at the high school level.
3-1 pitch to Nico is inside for ball 4, so he will walk to lead off the 7th.
But as we talked about a little earlier, it's always tough for a reliever to come in and get comfortable, especially in these key games when it's a section championship on the line. Of course, you have the benefit of if you do lose, you can come back with a Halligan or another ace on the hill for Hopkins. But you definitely want to close us out with a 4-run lead here in the bottom of the 7th. And putting a pitcher in this position here is a tough spot, but he's just got to throw strikes and let his defense make the plays.
Starts Albert with a strike. Albert, a walk his first time up, and then a struck out the last two. Pretty key strikeout last time up in the 5th, and kind of sandwiched in the middle of a rally. Breaking ball hit to short. It could be 2. Bobbled a little bit. They get the out there. Relay to first base, not in time. Just didn't quite handle it all cleanly enough, but it would have had to have been perfect, and they couldn't quite turn it. So fielder's choice will put Albert at first base with 1 out, and Carter Tibbetts will hit.
Yeah, that ball was hit really well with the shortstop, and I think that slight little bobble combined with, again, the second baseman having to take a step back and not keeping his weight moving towards first base allowed that runner to just beat out that throw down to first base.
Outside with that one. Tibbetts a couple of sacrifice flies in this game. The good news for Hopkins, there's not a hitter or a runner at third right now, so he's not going to hit another sacrifice fly here. But pops it up.
Thought you had that one.
Yeah.
No. We're in our chairs, so we don't really have much mobility. Our rating for mobility would probably be about 2 or 3.
I don't want to get booed by the crowd or anything either, you know.
Yeah, you really can't win.
Slashed out to right, and it's going to be in for a hit. Nickel checking in at second, and Tibbetts aboard at first base. I'm sorry, Albert in at second. Obviously, Nickel was forced out on at second, and Ben Leitner will be the hitter.
You know, every base runner is key, but if you can get that game-tying run to the plate, that'd be huge. And as this wind starts to pick up, again, those balls up in the air are tough to, not only tough to track, but they also continue to carry, especially balls out to left field.
Fastball up and in here. Leitner struck out his first 2 times up, but then had a key double in the 5th, a 3-run 5th inning where Wayzata pulled it within 5-4.
Yeah, I thought they were going to really take the lead there or else in the next half of the inning, but Hopkins did a nice job to get a couple runs back right in the next half of the inning.
Breaking ball for a strike there from Kanitz. Another one down to short. They get the out at second, throw to first base, not going to be nearly in time, but again, another key out recorded.
Yeah, you're Hopkins. You just got to get that first one. If you get the double play, great, but you got to make sure you get that first out and then try and go from there. Don't try and rush things. You're in a position where you can trade runs for outs, and especially right here, you do anything you can to get that third out.
Yeah, and it didn't end up hurting him, but really not a very good decision to throw that ball to first. They had no chance, and he was really off balance. But as long as he didn't throw it away, nothing really cost him there. Here's Turner McIntosh stepping in for Wayzata, and Kennett starts him with a strike. Strike 2. Royals fans getting pumped up.
They're feeling it 1 pitch away here.
And line foul.
Nice defensive swing on that strong breaking ball. He's got a good breaking ball coming to the plate, and going left up a little bit in the zone, close enough that you don't want that umpire to be given the opportunity to call you out and end the season for here Wayzata. So nice job to fight that one off and stay alive.
Oh, did he go? Oh, it was awful close. Yeah, they're going to give him the benefit of the doubt there. I thought his bat flashed through the zone, to be honest, but at the same time, boy, that'd be a tough way to end a section tournament too. So
go down to the first base ump for that called third strike on check swing. Ooh. Let him play.
Now he does swing and miss, and the Hopkins Royals are Section 6 champions.
Nice victory here for Hopkins on their home field, coming in as the visitors against the top seed Wayzata Trojans, who fought back through that losers bracket. Got a couple big wins close here in the playoffs, but this time Hopkins pitching combined with a strong start in that first inning, coming out hot with 3 runs in the first inning, swinging at first pitches and getting hits and getting runners on base, really put Hopkins in the driver's seat early on, and Wayzata just couldn't come back and take that lead. And Wayzata comes up a little short this season, but a great season, comes in as the 1 seed, very competitive section bracket. But Hopkins just comes out on top with solid pitching and key hitting.
Yeah, I think that first inning kind of showed that they were confident and loose coming out here. And it did sort of set the tone. I mean, obviously they needed to tack on a little bit later and all that, but they able to really take control early in that one. And Nelson, boy, I mean, they hit him hard early, but he came back and fought through and gave him 6, pretty good innings in this one. And so Hopkins is a veteran team, kind of a little bit of a role reversal maybe from the last year or two, where Wayzata was sort of the definitely the favorite and more experienced team, where now these Hopkins guys, a few of them have been on the varsity level for 2 and 3 years, and it's kind of their year, their turn, I think.
Yeah, throughout the past couple of years, they've had young underclassmen kind of tasting that defeat and seeing Wayzata advance or other section competitors kind of beat them throughout the playoffs. But this year it's their turn, whether they're seniors, juniors, or sophomores. They got a pretty good team, and be a fun team to watch in the state tournament, especially with the depth of their pitching. We talked about it earlier in the season. That's something that I always talk about is, wins during the regular season are great, but it really depends on who you're facing, who your opponent is throwing on the mound. And Hopkins has 3 or 4 really good arms. And, of course, with Halligan in the bullpen or coming out as a starter with that strikeout rate, he's one of the best pitchers that I've seen throw. And, having Nilsson out there, and, I mean, just a great rotation. That's really what helps you win in the playoffs and also especially in the state tournament.
And they've also got some guys with some pop in especially the top part of that order, but also the bottom contributes a little bit too. And when you are able to piece together some innings at different parts of your lineup and whatnot, it certainly helps the cause too.
Yeah, solid batting order from top to bottom, but definitely those top 3 or 4 hitters, their big frames and strong stances can put the ball into the gap or over the fence. It's good to have that at the top of the order. Then also solid contributors throughout the 7, 8, 9 position as well, and it's good to turn that lineup over and get those big hitters back up to the plate.
So we hope you've enjoyed this one here, as it is Hopkins defeating Wayzata by a score of 8-4 to win the Section 6 4A championship. Again, congrats to the Trojans getting back here to the section final, and congratulations to the Royals as they will get set for the State 4A tournament. Hope you've enjoyed this one. For Drew Keogh and all of our crew, I'm Jay Wilcox. So long from Hopkins.